Well, hi everybody, be very welcome. I have just decided to record this class, because we need to make up the class that I was absent today in the afternoon. Well, I would like to start this class by sharing with you some of the vocabulary words that most of you mispronounce during the oral exam. And I consider that this is extremely important because remember that you are all in level 5. So you are this close to be in level 6. And in order for you to perform or to do it well in that level, is because I just need you to focus and try to improve your pronunciation. Got it? Okay. So I will be giving you the pronunciation for the following words, and I hope you practice them. I hope you practice these words, and I hope uh, your English sounds better after you practice them several times. Remember that English is a matter of practice, so practice makes perfect. Ready? Here we go. This is going to be environment. Live, if we are referring to the verb, not life. Live. Bear, not beer or bird, or this is bear, the animal. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, please. Region, areas, species, including, contribute, damage, natural, not natural, natural, areas, nature, please, not nature, nature. I think this word is repeated, so let me change it for one thing is species and the other is spices. So be very careful so as not to confuse. This one is a species of animals, and this is spices, especias. Okay, so I said nature, conservation, extinction, should, please, not should. Located, collapse, diversity. Now, if you're reading the word life and then in plural, yes, we say lives. Remember, this is the verb live, and when you read it in third person, you simply say lives, but it's as a verb. If you are reading as a plural of the noun life, in that case, yes, you say lives. Okay, climate, vital, creature. Please stop saying creature or something like that. This is creature. Conversation, responsible, subject, culture, key, Asia, polar bear, destroy, and due to. For me, it's extremely important that you remember to pronounce correctly all of these words, please. And another little detail that I also noticed on your exam was the use of would mind. Most of you, except for 3 people on the exam, most of you fail making a sentence using this one, would mind. Just remember that would mind is one of the verbs followed by gerunds. So every single time you're using this expression, something that you should say is like, would you mind, let's suppose, closing the windows? And this is what most of you fail doing during the exam. So please consider that every single time you are using would and might, the next verb must be ending in ing. Please, I need you to practice this sentence in particular, this question, and please try to give me, let's say probably three examples using this. I will leave you this worksheet, the paper I am working on, so you can give me those 3 sentences. Got it? So remember, whether you use it in affirmative or in negative, interrogative, whatever, this must be followed by another verb ending in ing. Let's suppose that you use it in negative. Okay, I wouldn't mind what? Doing the dishes. Let's suppose doing the dishes. There you can see I am using doing as well as closing. So this is the verb ending in ing. Got it? Well, I hope so. Now, what about last class? Remember the last class I gave you some new vocabulary words such as end up, can afford, purchase, budget, in fact, and figure out. I won't be repeating these words because I suppose they are completely clear, or at least this is what I want to believe. And well, but anyway, just try to practice them and try to give me sentences. Now, last class, we were also checking those differences between active and passive voice. Well, and if I remember well, we completed these exercises regarding passive voice. And then I told you, okay, you're going to complete the paragraph using the verbs in parentheses. Remember that when you are using passive voice, the verb given in parentheses should be in past participle. If the sentence, if the passive voice sentence doesn't contain a verb in past participle, the sentence will be wrong. Now, another important element is the use of the verb be. In every single passive voice sentence, you must include any form of the verb be, probably is or are or was or were or will be, whatever, but the past participle and the form of the verb be. Now, I think we finished, okay, I think we finished these two, the one about cotton, Native American, and probably this is the one that we didn't finish, the one about bananas. Well, let's suppose, because I can't remember exactly if we finished or not. If you are dealing with active and passive at the same time, remember, in active, you must have the person, the doer, you know, the person who is performing the action. When you are using the passive voice, no. For example, in this one, we will have, if you want. In this case, this is active precisely because you is the person, the doer. If you want to grow bananas, there are, and this is again active, there are certain things you need to do. First, those offsprings, you know, retoños, should be planted. And in this case, yes, we will be using the passive voice because those offsprings should be planted. Not because they plant something, it's because they are planted. Okay, in a well-prepared soil, they must be watered. And even if it looks strange, water is also a verb, and consider this, those strange verbs, always regular. Okay, they must be watered 2 or 3 times a day. Once the plant starts growing, in this case, we don't need to use the passive because, okay, so this is a plant doing something. So the plant starts growing, you must protect it. In this case, this is also active, protected, protected. Okay, you must protect it. And then again, this is active precisely because you are going to protect the plant from cold weather because the plants are sensitive, you know, delicate. In this case, this is not passive because the plants are, and well, okay, you have an adjective here. What about strawberries? I think this is the paragraph which was pending. So I wish you could analyze the answers by yourselves, but anyway, I will be reading the entire paragraph with the answers included, but please try to do it yourselves. Once strawberries are collected, they are washed and sorted according to their size. Later, they are bagged and sent to the shopping centers where they are sold. This mini paragraph is exclusively in passive voice. So I hope the answers that I read agree with the answers that you have in mind. Okay, then I wish you could do this exercise by yourselves, but this is something that we will check in class. Okay, here originally says 5 points, but okay, not anymore. All right, just remember that here you must begin by the object, not by the person who does the action. Now, if you really think the person is important, go ahead and mention it. But mention it by using the by expression, this one. Please do not give me examples in which you say, oh yes, for example, Coca-Cola is drunk by people. It is obvious that Coca-Cola is drunk by people. So in this case, we can probably say Coca-Cola is drunk all over the world. Okay. So there is no need to say by people because this is obvious. Or another sentence, the typical when the student told me, oh yes, the windows were closed by someone. It is pretty obvious that somebody must have cleaned the windows. Okay, so if you simply say the windows were closed, the windows were cleaned, that's enough. That's enough. There is no need to say by someone, especially because you are not mentioning anyone in particular. Okay, observe here, for example, if I say Televisa, okay, Televisa is organized in a new kind of telethon. Well, probably mentioning Televisa here, it's quite important for me. Okay, in that case, I say telethon is being organized. Probably here, yes, I need the reference by Televisa. Now, all of these sentences are in different tenses, because you are level 5. So we have, or some of the sentences are in simple present or in present perfect, like this one, or maybe like this one, which is in continuous, which is somehow difficult to deal with this one, in passive voice. Well, anyway, please try to do it by yourselves. Try to solve this exercise, and then next class, we will check the answers there in class. Now, please, it's important, I insist, that you review those verbs in past participle. If you don't know those verbs in past participle, it will be quite difficult for you to deal with passive voice. Let me show you one list. Well, I had originally one list here in which you can practice those verbs. Then let me see if I have it somewhere here. No. All right. I was planning to give you that list precisely because I need you to reinforce those verbs in past participle. And if I insist on using those verbs in past participle is because they are extremely important. If you don't practice with those verbs in past participle, then it will be, I insist, quite impossible for you to deal with passive voice. So please, everybody has a verb list, try to practice with those verbs. All right, let us continue. Let me just give you this. Okay, let me show you this worksheet, which I will put it on the brighter space so you can do it as the first task for homework. Okay, listen carefully. This is going to be the first task for the second portion. I will put it on brighter space and I need you to download it, answer it, and then upload it again. Okay, let me explain it to you. In the first part of this worksheet, you will be dealing with active or passive. You're going to complete this mini paragraph using the verbs in parentheses. They can be either active or passive. Now, what about the tenses? Well, the tenses can be present, simple or continuous, or present perfect, maybe past, simple past, okay, or probably past perfect, but consider the active and the passive, please. What about in the second exercise? Okay, In the second exercise, you will be dealing with used to. Why? Because that is another thing really consistent that I saw on the exam. On the exam, I gave you the instructions. Okay, talk about the lives of people 100 years ago. Except for two people, I think, or only one person, nobody could ever remember that I was referring to used to. And then you gave me sentences in simple past, but nobody used that used to. So these four sentences, either affirmative or negative or in a question, you will complete them using used to. Now remember that used to is a structure in past. So be very careful, please, when you use it either in negative or in interrogative, because you will be using the auxiliary. And once you use the auxiliary, that the, this the at the end here must be erased, eliminated. Okay, what about exercise 3? In exercise 3, you are going to complete these sentences using prefer, would prefer, or would rather. Remember that this is still practice for you. Would rather is simple, so no to, no ing, nothing. Would prefer, yes, you have to use to. Be very careful. And when you are using prefer, like in present, remember to use the verb ending in ing. Kids, once again, it's very important for me that you remember that format. Prefer is using ing, to ing. Would prefer is to, and would rather, nothing. So this is simple. Okay, then you are going to complete these sentences. And here, once again, you're going to state your preferences and explain why. Let's suppose, I think I'd rather travel by car rather than by bus because riding a car is more comfortable than riding on a bus, for example. Okay, so you will give me not only your sentence, but also you will tell me why. If you tell me, I would prefer you didn't say anything about this problem because I can't stand indiscreet people. So that is why I would prefer you didn't say anything about this problem. Okay, so try to be as natural as possible when completing these sentences. These, particularly these sentences. And well, okay, once the paper is ready, I insist, you will be uploading there to the brighter space and it will be task 1 because this is what I was going to assign today. And but okay, unfortunately, because of the um, power with that I have today, well, I couldn't assign that. What about this one? Okay, this is an exercise we will be using next class. In next class, we will be doing this listening practice containing used to. So look, this one. And then here you will be testing yourselves answering these sentences or completing these sentences. You have 3 different choices. Only one is correct. Only one, no more. So you will read the sentence that is next class. There is no need to answer it by yourselves. No, I just want you to keep the paper so we can answer it in class, next class. So this is next Tuesday, October the 5th. Okay. For example, when I was a boy, I blank. I used to write, I used to write, I would wrote. So I just want you to analyze the 3 options and choose the best one. And there is only one, no more. So don't ever think that, oh yes, 2 choices are possible because I believe, no, because nothing. Analyze each statement carefully, and then you will find that the items, the items is this, used to, and would. And then you will find that those items are unique. And so there is only one answer, no more. Got it? Well, so this is gonna be for next class. Now let me see if it's possible for me. I insist to find that worksheet in which I have prepared, that verb list, please, um, because I have prepared it. Okay, then let me see. Okay, it is just some this like an exercise in which you review those verbs in past participle. And let me see if I can find it. Well, okay, maybe not. But anyway, everybody is able to review those verbs in past participle. Well, let me see if I can find it. And if I find it, well, okay, I will show it to you. In the meantime, let me show you this little exercise. Let me see. I think it's this one. Okay. Another thing that we were practicing the other day was the use of those articles, definite, indefinite, and the zero article. Remember that I also mentioned that when you are dealing with the zero article, it's important that you use the symbol. Now, remember, please, that when we are using a or an, it depends on the next word, if it begins with a vowel or with a consonant, and then you will be using a or an. This article that, which is definite, because the first two are indefinite. Okay, this that is because you are referring to something in particular. So that is why we call it definite. In some other circumstances, you can also use the when you are referring to something which is the only one in this word. For example, if you say the moon, the zoo, the sea, the zoo. Okay, the moon, the sun, the sea, maybe the earth, okay, maybe the Pacific Ocean, especially if it has name, because in general you say ocean, but if you say the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, or maybe if we say the North Pole and the South Pole, because they are unique. If we say the American continent or the European continent, probably if we say the solar system, and maybe the sky, and the land. Okay, so in those cases, yes, we will have to use that article that. Well, what about the zero article? Remember, in the zero article is because we are speaking in general. So there is no need to use an article in this case. I like coffee. And if you are more particular, then you will say, I like the coffee. But if you say, I like the coffee, this is, I like the coffee which is sold in bibs. So specifically the coffee which is sold in bibs. But if not, this is simply in general. I like coffee. I like the coffee that my mom prepares. Okay, so specifically the coffee that my mom prepares. And well, okay, let us try to complete this exercise, right? I wish you could take 1 minute for you to analyze it, and then let us check your perceptions. Remember, and, the, or zero. Please remember to use this symbol whenever you're using these articles here. Okay, so let me give you 1 minute, please, for you to analyze all of these sentences and try to come up with the answers. Okay, just 1 minute. Ready? Okay, here we go. Remember, my favorite subject is history, but I'm not very good at English. In this case, we are referring to subjects. So, no article is needed, right? So in this case, let's say using this symbol here. Okay, let me see if I can copy and paste this one. Okay, so my favorite subject is history, but not very good at English. Okay, zero article. Why? Because if you say the English, you are referring to the people, not to the language. And if you say the history, probably we say the story, the story of the boy, okay, or maybe the history of Egypt, well, specifically Egypt. Okay, what about number 2? Love is a splendorous thing. Okay, in this case, no article again. So this is zero article. Why? Because we are referring to love in general. We are not talking specifically about kind of love. Okay, 3. Let me see. 3. How can I probably remove this? Okay, I don't like coffee. I prefer tea. All right. Once again, we use the zero article here. Okay, I don't like coffee. I prefer tea. What about number 4? Think about it. Number 4. Ready? Okay, so it says, flowers in your garden are so pretty. Okay, specifically, flowers in your garden. Okay, so this is gonna be the flowers in your garden, so specifically that are so pretty. Okay, 5. How long has your brother been in hospital? In the hospital. Okay, ideas? Okay, so how long has your brother been in hospital? Right, zero article. Why? Because if you say the hospital, well, probably your brother is a doctor, yes, or maybe a nurse or a paramedic, and then he works specifically in the hospital. So if the person works in the hospital, then yes, you can say, how long has your brother been in the hospital? But if your brother is a patient, then no, no article is needed. So how long has your brother been in hospital? End of the story. Okay, 6. Come on, give it a try. Opinions. Oxford is university in England. Just remember one thing. If you say and, because it should be and, just consider that university has a very strong sound. You know, it sounds as if it were, as if it were a consonant. Therefore, because the sound of the consonant is strong, I mean, the sound of the vowel is strong, and it sounds like a consonant, in that case, we will have to use a. Oxford is a university in England. Okay, there are millions of stars in space, in the space. What do you think? There are millions of stars in space, right? No article. If you say in the spaces, because probably, okay, oh, look, here, the space is ready for your car. Okay, so this is the space. But if you are referring to that one, then you will simply say space. I suppose astronauts usually travel to space. Okay, 8. Come on, take a look. Coffee in some words specifically is really good. So, what do you think? Coffee or the coffee? I would say coffee. 0 article, you know. Okay, that one. Oh, no, no, no. Yes, it's true. Sorry. This is the coffee. Because it's specifically the coffee in some words. Yes, okay, sorry. I was thinking about coffee in general. I definitely need a cup of coffee. Okay, so the coffee in some words, or specifically in some words, is really good. Okay, and then he set fire to his factory so that he could claim the insurance. What is insurance? It's the money that certain companies pay you whenever you have an accident or a problem or an incident. Okay, so insurance. An insurance company, for example, could be GNP. Okay, that is an insurance company. What is the other name? AXA? AXA, I think, is an insurance company. Okay, so he set fire, no, he set fire to his factory so that he could claim the insurance. So this is going to be 0 article 2. Okay, and what about number 10? Can you keep it? I'm getting married. Okay, can you keep a secret? Probably a secret. I'm getting married. Okay, because in the end, a secret one is only one. And you see the exercise afterwards is this one, preferences. Okay, let me just complete these sentences so you have a better idea, just in case this is not clear yet, and because you need some reference before answering the other exercise. Okay, so we have prefer, would rather, not, and would prefer. Travel by bus, in car, rest, have fun, stay at a hotel or at a friend's house, and all-inclusive catering. No catering. Catering is William's girlfriend. This is catering. Okay, prefer. Well, remember that prefer is a verb followed by ing. So this is I prefer. I prefer drinking, not only drink, but drinking. Okay, so I prefer drinking tea. That's a word. I prefer drinking tea to coffee. Okay, that it is. I prefer drinking tea to coffee. Please, it's extremely important that you respect the ing when you are using the verb prefer. I know that it's not easy. I know that you can, teacher, but what if I say I prefer to drink? Okay. You can also say I prefer to drink. But with this second sentence, you are not showing me what you are learning. With the first one, yes, you're showing me what you are learning. So please try to use not the most appropriate, but try to use it the way I show you here in the class. So you show me how much you are learning. What about would prefer? Okay, would prefer is followed by infinitive. Okay, infinitive. So this is, I would prefer. Oh, look, but here I forgot about the complement. All right, if I prefer drinking tea to coffee, I prefer traveling. I prefer traveling by bus. I prefer traveling by bus to in a car. Remember that to is the complement for prefer, not, okay, not than, because then sometimes I hear students saying, oh yes, I prefer drinking tea than coffee. No, not really. Probably then it's a transference that people make from English, no, from Spanish to English, probably. But no, not really. This is going to be to, not than. What about would prefer? Okay, would prefer, yes, I have to use to. Let's suppose. I would prefer, on the chat, I would prefer to rest rather than have fun. Okay, so I would prefer to, and that is where you see the infinitive. I would prefer to rest rather than have fun. In this case, it is not necessary to mention the other two, before have fun. So not really. But if you are using would prefer and then you don't want to stop here, let's suppose, I would prefer to rest. Okay, let's suppose that you don't want to use the complement. So you simply say, I would prefer to rest. End of the story. But if you really want to show how much preference you have for one than for the other, okay, go ahead. But then use it properly. I would prefer to rest rather than have fun. What about would rather? Okay, when we are using would rather, it's a very, not ambiguous, because I shouldn't use the name ambiguous, but okay, would rather you use neither to nor yet. Is one of those exceptions, let's say. So this is I would rather. I would rather. I would rather all-inclusive catering. I would rather all-inclusive catering than stay at a hotel or than stay at a friend's house. Okay, one of them. Well, and probably not. Okay, when can I probably combine this not? When I am using prefer, simply prefer. Let me give you an example here. Okay, if we put simply prefer, for example, I prefer not going, to the university. Right. I prefer not going to the university because, etc., etc. Okay, but then observe the way they are using prefer and then not. Yes, is that okay? Well, and then what happens with the questions? Well, okay. With the questions, probably all what we need to do is, would you rather go or stay here? Would you? Would you rather go or stay here? And then, well, okay, in that way, you are using in an interrogative form. Would you rather go or stay here? I think I would rather stay here. Okay. I think I would rather, okay, I think I would rather stay here. Okay, well, then yes, when you are using it as an answer, it's also possible that you use or, this one, instead of using the other two or whatever. Okay, so would you rather go or stay home? I think I would rather stay here. And then this is another thing. Okay, so far so good. Are you sure? Well, remember to practice please all of this. Okay. I didn't give you an example of would rather in the negative. Okay, let me see. An example of would rather in negative. Okay. I would rather not tell him. Okay, there it is. I would rather not tell him. I prefer not going to the university. So be very careful with this prefer and this would rather in the negative, because in the negative you will have to mention, for example, this one, the ing before. If it's would rather, well, okay, there is no need to use an extra or a complement, so you simply use I would rather not, and etc. I prefer not doing whatever, etc. Okay, so well, this is a different thing. But you know what? I wish I could get the verb list that I prepared for you, and now among so different files, I can find it. But okay. So class, I hope everybody has these ideas even clearer. I know that I am okay giving you only 1 hour, but okay. Probably this is better than a tutorial there on YouTube. And well, okay, just consider these notes, write them, practice, and just in case you have a different question or a different opinion, or probably something which is not really clear to you, because you know what, teacher, I didn't understand, and or I didn't like the way you explain or whatever, and then I need more information about this. Well, okay, then in that case, I will be able to help you. Okay, then let me save it here. Okay, and well, okay, so I hope everything is clear. I hope you review this, and well, okay, I will be very happy to clear your doubts, just in case you have any question, any problem, any comment. No matter what the question is, you know that you're always welcome with those questions, and feel free to ask me anything you like. Got it? Well, okay. I hope you have an excellent night. I hope to see you next class, and well, okay. Thank you very, very much. Ready? Bye-bye. Oh, by the way, something that I forgot to mention. When you work with this page, remember, with this one, I think. Yes, when you work with this paper and then you upload it to the brighter space, not only will this be your homework, you know, your assignment, but also your attendance point. Whenever you answer this exercise and then you upload it to the brighter space, I will also consider your attendance to this class. Got it? Okay, now yes, we are ready. Thank you very much.